So I was thinking the other day, from my own experiences, and I know from experiences pretty much all girls have when you play video games, is when guys, especially like on WoW for example, are like, oh, girls don't play WoW, girls don't play video games, when you actually do. And it's really, really stupid because some girls I know are like really, really good at video games. And I'm sure a bunch of girls who are watching this who play video games, they're like super great at it. And it's actually really disappointing because if you are a girl and you do play video games and you are really good at it, guys still think you look like this. Oh my god, you guys, so I got Skyrim for GameCube. I am so freaking excited. I'm like getting ready to play right now. So it's kind of hard to hold these things. They need to make it like the other way. Maybe if I turn it upside down. Oh, this is so much easier. It's actually like I can hold it. How am I supposed to see the buttons? Or like this. So, what's your favorite Pokemon? I think my favorite one is the yellow bunny. Pikachu. The yellow one, right? Or in some cases, they also think if you're really good at it and they know you're really good at it, they think you look like this.
Okay, boys. We got, 2 rogues in our flag room gotta take care of. So if we could send a ret pally and a disc priest in there, that'd be cool. And I'll take a group of 4 to go get our flag back. Okay. Okay.
But that really isn't true because I know so many girl gamers who actually know what they're doing and they are hot as F. One thing that does bother me, for example, is stuff like this. Gold? Seriously, oh my god, I love this game. Oh my god. Can I give me some gold? Or when girls really don't know how to play video games but they pretend like they're super pro. How long have you been playing World of Warcraft? I started playing like 4 days ago, I think. I'm really good at it though. I'm super good. Super good. What race and class do you play? And he's level 87? It's cool, right? What is your gear score? It's awesome. What is your favorite battleground? I don't know. It's like, I don't know what it's called, but it only has like 2 bosses, I think. It's really easy, but I'm really good at it. What are your professions? Oh, I don't have a job. I'm 13. Okay. I think like this interview is over. King. I'm gonna go like kill. I'm gonna go kill him. It's like, come on, just don't play it if you don't know what it is. If you're just doing it so it's cool, don't do it, because it really pisses off people who really play video games. So just the message I'm sending out here, girl gamers, you rock, you're awesome, I love you. And guys who doubt that girls play video games, F yeah, we do. So guys, I hope you liked my little rant about girls and gaming and such. And just remember that my live show is every Wednesday at younow.com/shows at 5 p.m. California time. It was really fun last week, just as it is every week. And also, once again, there are more shirts available on my district lines. Just districtlines.com/highlytobear. I will also put all of these things in the description. And you guys can also check out my Keek if you want to stay more updated with video stuff. I love you guys so much.
Minecraft.
Always. Bye.
Take a look at what happened.
Me and Ninja Parkour have come to the conclusion to destroy my world. That's right.
Yeah,
We have TNT'd the whole...
Oh no! Okay, it's gonna explode, dude. It's gonna... Oh my god.
I have a great time, guys! I don't know why I didn't do this. Oh my god. I'm gonna die! I'm gonna... Oh my
Oh,
god.
wow.
This is so freaking cool!
Whoa, all this work. It's
Hey,
gone.
I'm in the house!
Yeah.
This is Jimmy.
What is a video game? It's just a set of problems. It could be anything. Civilization has problems in history. Halo's problems in a fantasy world of fighting. Chibi Robot has problems on how a 4-inch robot could clean a house. It doesn't matter what the problems are. All a video game is a set of problems that you must solve in order to win. You want to know what I do? Well, oddly enough, I'm by training a linguist, and I still work in linguistics on a field called discourse analysis, which studies how people mean things and make meaning. And I only got into games and learning about 6 or 7 years ago when I was helping my 6-year-old play Pajama Sam. And then wondered what a more adult video game would be like, and went and got one, you know, arbitrarily because I didn't know what to get, and was really just blown away how hard it was. But after I played a number of hours poorly, I really was fascinated by this cultural phenomena that people are paying for a long and hard and difficult thing that has to be successful in teaching them to play it, because it'll go broke if it doesn't. And when I finally caught on to, you know, the theory of learning behind video games, which I think is quite different than how we learned in school, it became, to me, a life-enhancing experience. Take real-time strategy games, which are the most complex video games. A game like Rise of Nations has over 350 commands, essentially hundreds of variables interacting. You play it for hours, you run civilizations. I mean, it's just more complex than what any kid would. Incredibly complex games. So there are kids addicted to Civilization. I mean, and yet Civilization, I defy any adult to go play Civilization, and they will usually give up in 25 minutes. So let's talk about assessment, because assessment and testing is what drives our current school system. If you're not happy with how schools teach today, they teach that way because of the tests we have. So we're learning for problem solving and innovation unless we change the tests and change the assessment, because they drive the system. Now, here's a little thought experiment about assessment for anybody who's a gamer. We take it as completely natural that you would be in an algebra class for 12 weeks, and then I would give you a test on algebra, maybe one designed in some other state, to see whether you learned any algebra. We take that as natural. We do it every day. So let's say a kid plays Halo on hard, and he takes 30, 40 hours, and he finishes Halo. Would you be tempted to give him a Halo test? Why is it that we're not tempted to give him a Halo test, but we are tempted to give that algebra test and use that as the judgment? Well, it's because you actually trust the design and learning of Halo better than you trust the design and learning of that algebra class. And I think that's where we're going. We're going to be able to create learning that is so immersive, so deep, so rich in information about the development of people in that learning space, that the idea that we let some tests made in a different state trump what happens outside of that learning will become primitive. We will see it as a very primitive thing. What I'm pushing is really not digital media, first and foremost. It's what I call situated and embodied learning and a school system out of school now. And it's in community centers, it's in libraries, it's in privileged homes. And it's based in this digital learning and also in this situated, contextualized, problem-solving learning where you can do and articulate your knowledge. And it's making some of our skill and drill schools look bad. That system is going to put pressure on schools, and it is already operating by deeper forms of assessment that are built, where the assessment is integrated with the learning, where it's based on copious information, and where it's used to customize the learning back to you, as well as to give information across all the stakeholders so they can resource the learner. It's a new phenomena where we really have two school systems. We have a school system for the 21st century in popular culture where people are thinking about complex systems and learn. Kids are producing their own knowledge, whether it's about the weather or robotics or machinima or digital media. And then we have a school system that's basically giving you the basics of numeracy and literacy. And that pressure, I think, will bring about real change.
Have a reputation for being absolutely terrible, and gamers that want their money's worth out of the games they buy tend to avoid them like the plague. For good reasons, too, as licensed video games tend to suck pretty harshly. Yes, licensed video games have a long and storied history of being pretty frigging terrible, but not all of them are. And in fact, there are some licensed games that are actually pretty good, and dare I say it, even great. And that's what we're taking a look at today, the licensed video games that actually didn't suck. And yes, there's enough of them to make a full list. You shouldn't be so cynical. That's my job.
Boing, 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 banana!
The first game on our list is Transformers War for Cybertron, a game that I have a bit of a personal story with. You see, I absolutely hate this game, but not because it's bad. No, it's actually an extremely good game. It plays well, has a pretty long and interesting campaign, and has some fun multiplayer. It's basically Gears of War with giant robots blowing each other up. No, I hate this game because when I played it, I was a young, impressionable 10-year-old who thought Transformers were the coolest frigging thing in the world, and a video game that let me play as a Transformer and blow up other Transformers sounded pretty amazing. So I rented it, played it, loved it, and my impressionable 10-year-old brain thought, cool, licensed video games must be great. So I went out and played more of them. I went out and played the Wii game for Wally. My 10-year-old heart was broken, and Transformers War for Cybertron set me up for that heartbreak by not sucking. So thanks, High Moon Studios. You guys crushed a little 10-year-old boy's heart by making it the happiest 10-year-old boy heart ever, and then revealing to him that most licensed games are actually pretty terrible. The next game on our list is Deadpool, which coincidentally enough was also developed by High Moon Studios, which means they're pretty much the only dev team that knows how to make a good licensed game. Not really, because this is the last High Moon game on our list, but still, 2 in a row is pretty impressive, I think. Now, I'll admit, Deadpool isn't the best game ever from a gameplay perspective. Sure, it's fun to play, but it gets a little repetitive once you get into the latter half of the campaign, and there's not a whole lot of replay value to it once you beat it. But Deadpool is on here for one reason and one reason only. It sticks to the source material it's based off of better than most any other game could possibly hope to do. And by that I mean Deadpool is absolutely frigging hilarious. It captures all the ridiculous, insane, who could have ever possibly thought of that without being on drugs kind of humor that the comic books became popular for, and then has it all be voiced by Nolan North, who, might I add, was absolutely born to play Deadpool. And in case you don't believe me, I'm going to show you one of my personal favorite scenes from the game. Here you go.
How much C4 is this gonna take? It's no more than 20 ounces. What? Oh, I hate the metric system. How much in American? Let's see. You carry the 7... Dude, fuck math. Just use all of it.
I rest my case. Deadpool is one of the funniest games I've played in a long time. The next game on our list is an old one that goes all the way back to 2004. Spider-Man 2, released for the PS2, original Xbox, and GameCube way back in 2004. Now at the time, I think Spider-Man 2 might have actually been the best licensed game around. It had a huge wide open New York City that let you climb up everything, web swing all over, beat the living crap out of random street thugs. It had collectibles all over the city. It had a long campaign, lots of stuff to do, and sure, some of the random missions that would pop up along the streets were pretty repetitive, and some of them were kind of dumb, and the voice acting was hilarious for unintentional reasons, but it was still a great game at the time, and definitely one of the best licensed games that had been out then or now. Number 7 is a game from around the same time as Spider-Man 2, Lego Star Wars. Not the second one, but the first one. Now, admittedly, most of the LEGO games have been pretty excellent, with a handful of select exceptions that most of you will know what I'm talking about, so I'm not even going to name them. But LEGO Star Wars gets special credit just for being the first one. It introduced us to what seemed like quite possibly one of the weirdest and probably worst ideas we'd heard in a long time, mixing Star Wars and Legos and making a video game out of it. Admittedly, doesn't sound like the most promising formula, but it turned out extremely fun. It had co-op that made the game infinitely more enjoyable when you were playing with friends, and it allowed parents and kids to play a game together that was actually fun for the parents as well as the kids. And it spawned a giant mega franchise that puts out, 3 games a month? 4 games a month now? Somewhere around those lines. Number 6 is the entire empire of Tom Clancy games, or as those of you who are fans of Ubisoft's E3 expos might know him as, Tom Clancy. A-doodly-doodly-doo. Sorry for that. Had no choice. Was begging to be made. Anyways, this might be cheating a bit because it's an entire, actually several franchises of games as opposed to one game, but only because they've all been really pretty good. Ubisoft has a huge library of games under the Tom Clancy name, but the 3 most well-known franchises are Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, and Splinter Cell, all of which have spawned some excellent games. The most recent Tom Clancy game, Splinter Cell Blacklist, released last year and was pretty well received. In fact, some research I did on the internet suggested that a lot of people may consider it to be one of the best Splinter Cell games in a long time. Likewise, Rainbow Six Vegas was for the longest time considered to be one of the best first-person shooters out there. And Ghost Recon pretty much started the tactical shooter genre. Tom Clancy games are licensed titles. I kind of forgot myself until I started doing research for this video. But the fact of the matter is they are. So those of you about to go trolling the comments that Tom Clancy games aren't licensed, because I know someone's probably going to do that, shut up. Yes, they are. I win. Go away now. Game number 5 on our list is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Now, admittedly, this game is a little bit close to my heart. After all, I was already a huge fan of the comic books and the movie when this game came out. But if you think I might be biased, don't take my word for it. Do a quick Google search and you'll find that it's not just me. Most people were pretty satisfied with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World when it came out, and understandably so. Strictly from a gameplay perspective, it's a pretty fun side-scrolling beat-em-up with some RPG leveling elements and 4-player co-op that makes the game infinitely more fun and infinitely easier. But if you approach it as a fan of the franchise itself, like I did, you'll find that the game is one of the best examples of faithfulness to the source material out there. The game is absolutely chock full of references to the comics and movie. For starters, the sprite style itself matches the comic books perfectly. The environments are littered with comics, there's the chiptune soundtrack, and that's all probably part of what makes this game so good. You can tell that the developers just had fun making it. It wasn't a slog, it was something they enjoyed doing, and you can tell that, and it helps make the game more fun. Plus, I never get tired of picking up some thug that I just knocked down and beating his friends over the head with his body. Which sounds pretty sadistic when I say it out loud, actually. Number 4 on our list is Kingdom Hearts 2. When Kingdom Hearts 2 released on the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 in 2005, it was following up the first Kingdom Hearts, obviously, which was one of the most beloved games of the generation. Fans' expectations were high that the follow-up would live up to their enjoyment of the previous game, and fortunately when it came out it clearly did. Just look at the Metacritic scores for it from critics and users alike. This game was almost universally praised by everyone who played it. In fact, it's one of the few licensed games to actually be frequently listed in best of all time lists for video games period, and actually won several Game of the Year awards when it came out, which is no small feat for any video game to accomplish, but for a licensed game to achieve that is even more impressive. Number 3 is Batman, most other games I've mentioned so far. Now, some people would argue that Arkham Asylum is the better game just because it came first, but Arkham City took literally everything that Asylum did and made it better. It refined the gameplay and combat, it added in a huge open world, one of the biggest in recent memory, with absolutely tons of side quests to do, integrated an excellent story with some fantastic voice acting, which just so happened to include Mark Hamill as the Joker, which is always good, and happened to be a pretty gorgeous game to boot. If that's not compelling enough proof for you, just look at how many games in the last couple of years have directly cribbed their gameplay style straight from Arkham City. The list is a lot more than you might think. Arkham City is also remarkable for being one of the few truly good Batman games out there in general, as Batman has had a pretty spotty track record with video games as a whole. He had some good ones back in the early 90s, and then pretty much crap from then on out, which made the Arkham games even more refreshing. They showed that not only could licensed video games be some of the best of the year they come out in, but a Batman licensed video game can be one of the best of the year it comes out in. Number 2 is another fairly recent game, and one that's been praised up and down by critics and gamers alike. I'm talking about The Walking Dead, both Seasons 1 and Season 2. Now, The Walking Dead is an important game for a lot of reasons. For starters, it pretty much single-handedly revitalized interest in both point-and-click adventure games and episodic games. It managed to put Telltale Games on the map as a studio to watch, and proved to deliver some of the best choice-driven storytelling since Mass Effect. Admittedly, the core point-and-click gameplay is a little, and there are some occasional technical glitches, but the storytelling in The Walking Dead is some of the best around, bar none. Excellent characters and writing are helped along by some fantastic voice acting, and choices that feel like they really matter. It all gives some serious weight to the encounters that most games don't have. Of course, there was also survival instinct, but I like to try and just forget that that game ever happened. So let's not ever mention it again. Ever. Thank you.
I don't want to get in a fight. You really think he'd shoot a little girl? Just don't make any sudden moves. And don't piss him off.
I'd shoot me.
Well, that's a hell of a thing to say.
I'm just saying.
Well, if it comes to that, I'll shoot him first.
Now, before we get on to the #1 licensed game of all time, here are some honorable mentions.
You think you're doing, Madsen? You dealing without my approval?
You're in my cell.
You need a blade. You come to me.
I said, you're in my cell.
And #1 on our list is GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64. Now, I don't really think there's anything I can say about this game that hasn't already been said over and over and over by hundreds of different people, hundreds of different times. When it was released, it was one of the best first-person shooter games out there. It was one of the best games on the Nintendo 64, was the best James Bond game, was the best licensed game, had some of the best multiplayer, etc., 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 etc. It's all been said over and over and over. You really don't need to hear me yak about it again. But if for some reason this game's importance and quality is somehow still not 100% solidified and beaten over and over into your head, it was good enough that Activision decided to reboot the GoldenEye franchise with a remake of the game on the Wii, which, interestingly enough, did actually happen to be one of the better first-person shooters on the Wii, for what that's worth. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the 10, technically 13 if you count the honorable mentions, best licensed games of all time. If you feel like there's a game that should have made the cut that I forgot about or left out, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Be sure to leave a like and favorite if you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'm AladMan98. Thanks for watching.
Boing, boing, boing.